In the top stories, Honorable Sean Richards declares his bid for Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. Barbados PM urges non-essential workers to stay at home, and U.S. police officer accused of assaulting Black Army officer fired. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Monday, the 12th of April, 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, political leader of the People's Action Movement, the Honorable Sean Richards, has declared his Mission 2025 bid for Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. Minister Richards was delivering his remarks on Sunday at the 55th convention of the party when he made the declaration.
When I tell you today that the future is looking bright for Pam, believe me. When I tell you that the future for St. Kitts and Nevis is also looking bright, believe me. And so now, when I tell you that after the next general elections, there will emerge a first Prime Minister from Sandipol, also believe me. Standing or sitting on the stage here is a past Prime Minister. Earlier, you saw sitting the present Prime Minister, and now you're seeing standing the next Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis.
His announcement ties into what party organizers dubbed preparing now for the future. Richards vowed that the party would be aware of dreams, needs, and concerns of supporters, specifically pointing to the loss of constituency number 1. He said after 56 years of existence, PAM has to look at itself and make changes for the future.
Since the general elections of June 5th, 2020, we have had time for reflection. But more importantly, though, we have looked back with satisfaction, and there has been a need to forecast the political climate for the immediate future, leading to the next poll in 2025 or sooner. As your political leader, I am committed to make changes, because to lead, I must also know how to follow.
He said it is his hope that the tri-party coalition remains unified, as their duty to country and all citizens is what unites them. The efficiency of detectives at the Criminal Investigations Department in preparing documents for court will be improved with the donation of 2 laptops from the Social Security Board, or SSB. Officials from the SSB made the presentation on Friday during a brief handing over ceremony at police headquarters. Commissioner of Police Hilroy Brandy explained that some months ago he approached the Social Security Board to request their assistance for laptops for detectives in the CID. Last year, Commissioner Brandy was informed by the Director of Public Prosecution that paper committals would replace preliminary inquiries in court. Paper committals require that all evidence be tendered to the magistrate in the form of typed statements. Commissioner Brandy said, quote, "So we deemed it fit that the Criminal Investigations Department should be equipped with some laptops so it can make their work much easier. If I'm asking my officers to produce in a given time, I think they should be equipped with the necessary equipment so they can work," end quote. The Commissioner expressed his gratitude for the kind gesture and added that the Social Security Board's donation during this difficult and financially challenging period demonstrated the institution's strong commitment to assisting the police with its crime-fighting efforts. Speaking on behalf of the Social Security Board, Chief Financial Officer Marilyn Johnson said they have supported the Ministry of National Security over the years in various tangible ways. As the country continues with its vaccination program, which has been described as crucial to economic recovery, business leaders, church leaders, and public sector officials are being encouraged to persuade those in their charge to take the jab. Speaking to a gathering of business executives and senior-level government officials at the Royal St. Kitts Hotel on Thursday to discuss the socio-economic recovery of the country, Prime Minister Harris said that the road to recovery relies heavily on the successful rollout of the vaccination program. He said, quote, "The vaccines are now here, but it is relying upon you and me to make the right decision if we are to get the pandemic behind us, and that in itself poses a challenge. It poses a challenge for the overall trajectory of the country because the actions of one individual or a few individuals could determine whether or not we recover fast or we recover slowly. That is why we need to have all hands on deck, end quote. He continued, quote, taking the vaccination is not just about individual rights. Taking the vaccination is an act of selflessness. In my view, it's an act of patriotism because the very act can determine how far we go, how soon we'll get there, whether 2,000 plus people in the tourism industry will be able to get to work. Again, it depends on whether or not the taxi drivers, those in our restaurants, those in our schools get themselves vaccinated, end quote. We now move to news on the regional scene. In Barbados, citizens are being told to stay at home unless they are essential workers. This from Prime Minister Mia Mottley as she updated the island being blanketed by ash from the La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. More in this report.
Bottom line is, if you don't need to go outside, do not go outside. If you're not going outside to clean around your house today, stay off the road. We've already had to suspend some of the transport board's movements because, as you know, it is hazardous on the road, and therefore we do not want to compound the situations that we have with any type of other unfortunate incidents. There are some people, as Mr. Thompson just adverted to, who do provide essential services and will have to go on the road.
She says the government is fighting fake news, COVID, and dealing with keeping citizens safe from the medical effects of ash, along with the physical effects to structures on the island. Prime Minister Mottley says while she understands that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is getting the brunt of the activity, now is not the time to become complacent, especially when it comes to taking care of the elderly and COVID-19 protocols. She is also asking Barbadians to conserve water to prevent a shortage being created, especially now in the dry season.
Guyanese residents are relating that their initial skepticism regarding accessing the COVID-19 vaccines have all but evaporated as they now recognize the value of being inoculated. Amal Griffith of HGP TV News reports.
In the wake of nearly 11,000 infections and 252 deaths locally, the initial skepticism registered by many Guyanese regarding taking the COVID-19 jab is through the window. Gone are the conspiracy theories and myths, misconceptions, and fallacies regarding the aim and objective, safety, and efficacy of the vaccines. Guyanese have seemingly registered a change of heart and are now clamoring by the hundreds to get inoculated. Since the rollout of the exercise on February 18, over 52,500 persons have been already vaccinated, placing the country on a strong trajectory to achieve herd immunity soon. Nightly News took to the streets on Friday and heard from persons their thoughts on the inoculation exercise. Many admitted that indeed they were among the vaccine skeptics earlier in the year. They claim that the reluctance was based on lack of information regarding the vaccine and the apparent hesitancy of some leaders to get inoculated. Additionally, the record pace with which the vaccines were developed and the motives of the pharmaceutical industry also came into question. Now, with hundreds of millions of persons safely vaccinated worldwide, coupled with the almost daily emergence of new strains of the disease and the catastrophic situation in neighboring Brazil, the attitudes of Guyanese towards taking the jab has done a 180-degree turn. Junior Don's confidence in the COVID-19 vaccine was boosted after President Ali, government, and other opposition officials took their COVID-19 jabs.
Anything that would prevent me from any airborne disease, I would surely go and accept it, you know what I mean? Once I see the minister and the president and them take it, I could take it to a same way, you know what I mean? Because them is Guyanese too.
However, he called for the establishment of additional vaccination sites in condensed and convenient areas like the Stabroek Market Square.
But I'd like for one day collect a vaccine or something that could protect me from the coronavirus. It's very serious right now, and I wish the other people in Guyana could come out and just support by just taking the vaccine so that we could all make this lockdown thing go away so we could be free up again, you know.
Denise Sankar, who was inoculated this week, described getting vaccinated as a piece of cake.
Are you skeptical?
No. No, at first, right? But my small daughter, she's a paramedic in the fire service, and she was sitting and she explained to me what is it. She said, Mommy, it's not compulsory for you to take it, but you could take it if you want.
While expressing that they have not yet taken the vaccine, these persons told this newscast that they will do so shortly.
I didn't feel too well last weekend, so now I am recovering. I'm feeling much better, and I'm considering taking the vaccine.
I think that people with underlying problem, they should be the first person to take this vaccine, and then anyone after, right? So for me, I will take it sometime, but not right now.
Reporting for the HTP Nightly News, I'm El Griffith.
Internationally, Officer Joe Gutierrez has been fired after an investigation showed that he violated police procedure during a traffic stop in which he's accused of assaulting U.S. Army Lieutenant Karen Nazario. More in this report.
Open the door, get out the car!
U.S. Army officer Karen Nazario was driving on a dark road in rural Virginia last December when police pulled him over for a missing license plate. What happened next, he and his attorney say, was a case of racial profiling and police brutality.
My hands are right here. What's going on?
Get out of the car now! I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I? Yeah, dude, you should be. Get out!
Windsor, Virginia police officer Joe Gutierrez pepper sprayed Lieutenant Nazario, even though his hands were raised and he was not resisting.
Get out of the car!
Don't reach in there.
My hands are out, please. Please, look. This is really messed up. My dog is in the back. My dog is choking right now. Get out of the car!
Nazario repeatedly asked the policeman why he was being assaulted.
Get out of the car right now! Now! This is not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're going to treat me? I didn't do anything. Whoa, hold.
The policeman ordered Nazario, who was unarmed and wearing his military uniform, out of the car and knocked him to the ground.
Why am I being treated like this? Why?
You're not cooperating. Get on the ground.
Why am I being treated like this?
Nazario has sued the Windsor police for violating his constitutional rights, alleging assault and illegal detention.
He was not resisting in any way, shape, or form. His hands are clearly visible, and he is the one that remains calm when these men are threatening his life. It's absurd.
Nazario, who was not charged in the incident, says the policeman threatened to damage his reputation in the military if he told anyone about how he was treated.
They knew they were in the wrong, and then they threatened to destroy a man's career if he called him out on it.
Nazario had temporary license plates displayed on his vehicle. Virginia's governor has ordered an independent investigation. The Windsor Police Department has not responded to news media requests for comment. Officials from the town of Windsor, Virginia say Gutierrez has been fired. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are cloudy skies with a gentle breeze of 8 miles per hour from the northeast. The temperature is 29 degrees Celsius or 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves not exceeding 4 feet. The weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis today says to expect mostly sunny skies, and for tonight mostly fair and cool conditions with a 40% or moderate chance of showers after midnight. Sunset today will be at 6:26 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:58 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.